Brian Keeler here. Welcome. I'm finishing up a painting. I'm in the final stages of this painting of the Three Graces, the Daughters of Venus, and it's a result of looking at many paintings of the same theme. And just earlier you were looking at some other versions that I've done of this same theme of the Three Graces. I've been doing them for quite a few years, partly inspired by my trips to Italy and to the Uffizi Gallery, where I've looked at Botticelli's famous Birth of Venus and also Primavera. This is more on Primavera, where the Three Graces are in Botticelli's version of that. So right now I'm involved in finishing this off, and at the current moment I'm working on the background stones here in this sylvan scene with the streams, and I'm just kind of lightening the value, and basically at this stage I'm softening edges too, and I'll show you a little bit more about softening edges when I go into the actual figures. But come down here to my palette for a minute. I'm using this kind of lavender color, and I've mixed it with this alizarin crimson here and a little bit of ultramarine blue and white to get this kind of mauve-ish low chroma lavender color, and just going over and working these stones a little bit to kind of bring out some of the shape, and I'm lightening too, so I'm changing the color slightly and just lightening the value a little bit. So this painting is a veritable study or an essay in different types of light. We have direct light, and the models are backlit, and I'll go into the figures here now. And there's also what I call ambient light, where the light coming from the general atmosphere. And we also have reflected light. So if you want to come in close here now, and I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm basically softening edges and rounding forms and lightening. So right here on this model's temple, I'm adding a kind of a warm color. So I'm using a mixture of warm and cools. You can see some of the cools in here, and we have this bluish green, kind of a low chroma green here, and that's sort of result of the sky and the trees, so it's reflecting that. And so there's a variety of temperatures here. I'm going to go over to this model here right now, and I'm lightening and softening here too. And so it's also going to be rounding out her form and making this part of her torso rounded. So I'm using kind of short, choppy strokes, but scumbling. The paint is more or less without solvent. It's rather dry right now, so it's going on sort of like pastel. But what I'm endeavoring to do is create this rounded part of her torso here, and some of the ribs here. And I've done a lot of softening of edges in this last stage. When I start, they're rather general, and then I can continually go softer and blend and fuse. But I like to let the brush strokes show through. I don't want to go too much. Right now I'm going to switch. We're going to come over here to my palette, and I'm going to mix up a warmer color. I'm putting a Naples yellow and a little bit of cadmium orange in here, and a little bit of white to get this kind of golden color that's going to be created. I'm working from some photographs here, so but I did a sketch, as you saw earlier in the video. And so what I'm going to do now, there's a type of reflected light here. There's a couple of different types of reflected light. We have a warm light here, and that's caused by it bouncing back from the other side of her arm. And there's also a cooler light too on her tummy here. It's being reflected back from the white of the sheet. But right here there's a warm light here, as I said, because it's her skin that's reflecting from her forearm back into her upper arm. And the same on this model here too. There's on her waistline, there's a corona of a golden light reflecting back up in here, and a little bit here on her hip. So I'm warming, I'm lightening, and I'm softening as I'm putting these. So I'm doing sort of three things simultaneously, and endeavoring to create this kind of golden glow there. I'm looking for other opportunities where that golden glow might happen. We could put a little bit more. I've already done it here with her hair, but I'm going to soften these edges here of her hair here. Just like that. I'm just sort of dragging the brush over very softly. This is a very soft sable brush that I'm using. It's really perfect for this stage of the painting. When I start earlier on, I'm using a kind of like a boar's hair. It's actually nylon that I use, but it's a stiffer brush is the main point, and it covers more quickly. So that's what I use at the early stages, and then at the latter stages like this, I'll use a soft kind of sable type of brush to get. I'm going to go into another reflected light here. It's very bright. It doesn't happen too often, is the reflected light being almost as bright as the direct light. It's because the light from this model's garment is being cast back into the model here that I'm painting now. So the subject has been very inspiring, this one in particular, because of all the different types of light that are happening. And as I was saying, it's a veritable essay in the many types of light. Okay, I think that's just about. I'm going to do a few more highlights here. Remember always where the light's coming from. So I have a fully loaded brush here right now, and I'm really popping in these highlights. So the very last thing here. But we always have to keep in mind where the light's coming from, and it's kind of rounding off certain areas. And the light was coming from behind the models here, backlit. And as I'm doing this, I'm rounding forms and sculpting, sort of. So modeling is a sculpting. Carving out the figures here. Okay, I think that will be it for now. So this is my little presentation in the Three Graces, and you can check out my website for other versions. I've done other interpretations of the Three Graces theme, and this is my latest. I also have a great figure painting DVD that covers just about all aspects of figure drawing, so you might look at my website if you want to go into more depth about that. I'll just mention one more thing. When I teach figure painting, I'm talking about straight lines and slants, and these models kind of exemplify that, the slants and the various pronounced angles, like this model's hips, and then her torso and her head. And anybody that's taken a figure painting class knows that's one of the essentials when you start off with that kind of structure and armature. So this is how they develop and come to fruition. So thanks so much for your attention.